news desk. As we told you, we'll be keeping an eye on what's happening at the WTO conference at the KICC. Of course, today being the last day of this particular conference, a number of key resolutions are expected to be announced today. And we want to cross over where we have our reporter, Joy Doreen Bira, who has been keeping tabs with the latest developments from that end. Joy, perhaps give us a quick snapshot of what has happened so far since morning up to now.
Thanks a lot, Abby. And yes, today is that final day of the WTO, or at least we hope so, that it won't extend into Saturday and Sunday because the negotiators are not coming to a conclusion on what exactly should come out of the ministerial conference here. But yes, there are a number of resolutions and a number of achievements here at the 10th Ministerial Conference. And like I mentioned earlier, one of them is that we have made headway in regard to trade facilitation agreement and also information technology and environmental goods agreement that is also set to see a transformation in the import and export of information technology products. But we also have a number of key ministers from the African continent who are also here in Nairobi, and they're playing a role. Some have spoken about what's happening in the country or in their countries, and one of them is the Minister for Industry and Trade, Malawi. That is Joseph Mwanamveka, who is now here with us, and he's going to speak to us about the expectations so far. And well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right. How are the deliberations going so far?
I would say that we're making good progress from the discussion that we had yesterday and this morning. I think we're making progress, but challenges still remain.
All right. You say the challenges still remain. What are some of the challenges we're looking at?
Some of the challenges is for us to reach a middle ground between the developing countries and the less developed countries, most of which are in Africa. So that's maybe the challenge, particularly on issues to do with quota-free, duty-free issues to do with export subsidies, and also issues to do with trade facilitation per se, for us for African countries, for the less developed countries to be able to sell their goods to developed countries, let's say the EU market, the American market. Mm-hmm. So those are the issues that have so far remaining.
Okay. So a number of people and lobbyists here have been saying that our world is not on sale, and they've been saying that there are no new issues that are coming out of the WTO 10th Ministerial Conference. Do you agree with that line of thought?
No, I don't agree with that. From the discussion, as I've said, I thought we are making progress. Even the developed countries have realized that there's need for us to reach a balanced position that benefits both the countries, both the less developed countries as well as the developed countries. I think that common ground is likely to come, and I'm quite positive that middle ground will be found.
All right, at least by the time we have the Nairobi Declaration?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so Malawi is one of the countries on the African continent that has been trying as much as possible to ensure food security. In fact, you have been giving subsidies to your farmers to ensure food security. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I think Malawi's case, I would say that is different, because our subsidies are purely for food security. We don't subsidize our farmers for them to be able to export the products to other countries. Mm-hmm. It is purely for the security of our farmers, mm-hmm. and ensuring that our farmers are able to produce enough to feed the country and also to feed the population. Mm-hmm. So ours is different. Unlike some of the subsidies we're talking about in developed countries, where they're subsidizing their exports to make it cheaper and for them to be able to sell to less developed countries. We are saying if that happens, it will be difficult for African countries or for African farmers to be able to compete with the rest of the world. And also because, as you are aware, that we lack capacity, we lack the resources. So if these subsidies continue, then we are not going to have a balanced trade between the less developed countries as well as countries with small islands, as well as the most of the countries in Africa, including Malawi.
All right. And so when you put it that way, it brings into mind the issue of agricultural subsidies. You know, a number of developed countries and less developed countries have been, developing countries rather, and LDCs have been asking that the developed countries scrap agricultural subsidies to their farmers. But knowing that we cannot or we can hardly produce our own food or even feed ourselves, do you think that maybe food security is something we should be looking seriously into?
Of course. In fact, to me, that should be the key agenda that most of the African countries should be considering and should be on the top of the agenda to ensure that we are able to produce enough for ourselves. I think we have federal land. I think we have the knowledge, but what we lack are the resources. But I think if we put our heads together as African countries, it should be possible, and it can be done.
All right. Finally, which are Malawi's biggest trade partners locally on the African continent and beyond?
Of course, we have so many partners, but one of the key trading partner is Kenya, and we are proud that we have Kenya as our key partner. We trade a lot, mostly on what we call the oil seeds. The oil seeds we are talking about, like for example, soya, beans. We have even our sugar, as well as our tobacco. Most of it is sold to Kenya. So Kenya is one of them, and also we have South Africa, we have Tanzania, Zimbabwe. From the outside now we have China, of course the EU market, and also we have America under AGOA. So those, but our interest is for us, for Africa, to trade with Africa, and in particular Kenya. I would also want to say maybe one thing that is I thought I should need to highlight. Malawi is quite pleased that this conference is happening in Africa and in our sister country, Kenya. To me, that's what we are proud of, because it's the first time we're having this, and I think it would be good that we should have a positive outcome, and that outcome coming from Africa and coming from Kenya.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Joseph Mwanamveka, who is the Minister for Industry and Trade, Malawi, talking to us about what is transpiring here and the deliberations, some of the resolutions that have come to be. And there's quite a lot that is happening here. But if you join us on KTN News, you'll be able to hear more from other ministers and also key delegates who are part of the negotiating team here at the World Trade Organization 10th Ministerial Conference. Back to you, Abby, in studio.